It is People, Power, and Politics. Welcome back to Detroit's only nightly political talk show, The Pulse. Here with what needs to happen to get Americans back to the workforce, financial advisor Dan Casey with Panic Proof Retirement. And Dan, it's always good to see you. Thanks for joining us here tonight.
Thanks for having me.
So an interesting new report comes out, and it just gives us kind of a picture as to where we're at right now. The unemployment picture and the number of people who are actually interested in getting a new job, those two stories inform each other a lot. Talk about that.
Yeah, you'd think unemployment going down and being only 4.2% would be a great thing. The problem is unemployed people are counted as people who are actively trying to get back to work. So the problem is 720,000 people said, I'm done, I'm out, I'm not looking anymore. And that was really intriguing. And it did seem like a lot of the people were retirees who were finally retiring. And of course, I've been on your show before where I've said 10,000 baby boomers retire every single day, right? Baby boomers are a quarter of our population, and that wave is starting to come through. 7 years from now, every baby boomer will be entitled to take Social Security. So that's the wave that's coming through. That, along with we've turned down the kind of the immigration spigot, and that immigration would help fill that gap when people were retiring. And so now that's not happening at the scale it was, so we're having an issue.
So you have fewer bodies and people and minds to go do those jobs, but the jobs are still open. Then you have a huge pool of people who are retiring. What about the people in between? You still have people who are in their 20s, 30s, and 40s who would be perhaps viable people to fill these jobs. What are they doing right now?
That's what we don't know. That's what economists are going
Can you
back
find
and
out
forth.
for us? Because we want to know where these people are.
Do you want me to go right now? Or
please head out. Let us know.
So that's what they're going back and forth. We don't really know what the heck they're doing. So all we know is the survey is like, have you tried to look for a job in the last 4 weeks? And 720,000 people said no. So we don't know. And the biggest demographic that's causing this issue, that's contributing to that number, is the 22 to 54, the main part of the workforce. So we don't know exactly what they're doing. And you'd think AI was somehow involved with this, but the study that did this report, they did AI, worst case scenario AI, not so worst case, and the numbers pretty much still came out the same. So it's not AI.
So when we talk about the 22 to 54-year-olds and where they're at, in terms of reporting their status, could there be some kind of a discrepancy that we're not noticing? In other words, if they're picking up maybe 2 or 3 gigs and it's not really a job that would be registering, is that what's going on perhaps? Like they're picking up in the gig economy 2 or 3 different gigs?
No, because the gig economy still, well, if you're considering like, Ubering or that kind of thing, that's still 1099. That is still, being recorded. So they're not doing that either. It's kind of a mystery, and it's really been happening since the year 2000. We've had it's slowly been going down, the labor force. And of course, the whole baby boomer issue is kind of exacerbating it.
Another issue that obviously is out there right now, if you talk to someone who's in their 50s or 60s, they're facing a real uphill challenge because they're commanding a salary that they remember having made in the last 30 years of their career. And some of these jobs out there aren't giving them those salaries. So you have this large swath of people who are in their 50s and 60s who are going, hey, this is age discrimination.
Yes. And I think what you see, and you see this anytime we have a recessionary period, is the baby boomers or those nearing retirement, they're happy to stay in the workforce because their 401ks are growing every day, right? So, but when you go into a recessionary period and their 401ks start dropping, that's when they say, okay, this is it, I'm done, I'm going to retire. So if that were to happen, that's going to happen as well as we'll have that issue.
You and I have been talking for years now on this desk about what you see forecasting coming up. And obviously you don't have a crystal ball. And I'm sure you wouldn't sit with your clients and say, I know these 3 things are going to happen.
Yeah.
But where do you see the economy heading right now?
So far, there are 0 cracks. There's slowing here and slowing there. But
yeah.
It is, yeah. It doesn't stop. The GDP is well within the average, 2.2%. So we're not seeing really any big issues happening. So, and I know, again, the stock market's not the economy, but it keeps hitting all-time highs. And apparently enough people think the war is not going to cause any issues, continuing issues or long issues. And stock market will continue to go up and we'll be just fine.
Let's talk for a moment about the Strait of Hormuz. Obviously, when they were talking about that opening we were talking about something like back, I think in June, they were saying there was like 28 ships that were traveling. Before this even started, there were more than 100 ships traveling.
Yes.
So commerce is important through that strait. 20% of the oil of the world comes from that port. But when you look at gas prices, and now you're looking at the blockades, what does that mean for our gas prices moving forward?
Higher gas prices. So you can see there was a direct correlation, right? As soon as it opened up, gas prices came down and oil came down. And I think I was even on your show and I said, there's no way we're going to see it ever hit 60. And it did. It's like, nothing seems to make sense anymore. It's reacting much faster than I've seen in the past. And so I think as the blockade continues again, I think we'll see higher oil prices, probably not back up into the 90 range or 100 range, but it's going to go up.
You know, from an economist's point of view, it's interesting because when it comes to gas, that's kind of a fixed expense that no matter how bad it gets, if you have to get to work and get the kids to school, you got to do it, and people cut other places. Is that what you're finding?
Yes, absolutely. And that's why we've seen in that last Bank of America report savings going down, credit cards increasing. So I guess if I were to point to some cracks, that would be it. The K economy, the lower and middle class struggling a tad.
So they're charging more and opening up lines of credit in order to pay the bills, because you got to pay with cash this gas over here, right?
Got to get to work, like you said. You got to get those kids to school.
What about inflation? And finally, what are you seeing when it comes to that?
Yeah, so it's come down. It was 4.2, and now it just came in at 3.5. So it did come down, and again, that's probably because of the oil prices coming down. It's the oil prices linked to about 40% of inflation's increase. So it's come down. But if the blockade continues and gas prices go up, so will inflation.
Well, we're going to keep watching it very carefully each and every day on this show and on our newscasts. And Dan Casey, as I say, it's good news that you have good things to say about our economy and our country moving forward. Let's hope that, of course, the people who want jobs get them, and those who, of course, are depending on this economy can get a better day.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Dan Casey. That is the Pulse for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Roop Raj. As always, it was good to be with you.